Title cards are an extremely common motion graphic that you might utilize in just about any project I can think of. Title cards can look like many things, but they all typically introduce the video with, you guessed it, a title. The simplest version of a title card is just simply a background, a title, and potentially a subtitle. Every episode of this project has a title card that animates itself on, then the title, followed by the subtitle, and then it animates itself out. We're going to create something like that. I'm going to replicate the title cards that we have in the episodes, so let's walk you through how I did mine. So I start off with a dark gray. I hit OK after it's made to the comp size. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add a little something extra to the background. As you can see in this one, I have these little slightly darker black dots to just make it look more interesting than just than the title and the subtitle. So let's go up to the shape layer, create a new shape with the ellipse tool. I'm going to create up here in this corner. Cool, there we go. We've got a little orange dot, which I'm actually going to change to, I'm going to change it to be the same as this, but then I'm also going to make it a little bit darker. You can change something to a specific color with the eyedropper tool here. Hit OK. There we go. Is darker. It's kind of hard to see, but that's okay. That's what we're going for. So I'm going to teach you a little bit about repeaters today. So we're going to open the drop down menu, come over here to add, click on it, and we're going to go to repeater. So what you can see right here underneath your contents is that you have a new repeater here, and you can see actually that you have some more of those dots. So let's open this up. What we can see is we have copies, offset, composite, and transform controls for the repeater itself. If you change these transform controls, it's going to change how those look up there. And just so that we can see this a lot easier, I'm going to change them to white. So we go into the repeater, we're going to come down to transforms. This sets how many pixels there are between each one of these copies. Now I'm going to make a lot of copies because we're going to have to fill in a pretty good area. I'm going to set it to 35, and I'm going to set the position to be something nice and round because that makes it easy to cover. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to add another repeater, and there we go. You can't see it because it's basically copying these first two here, but we're going to change the transform controls to be 0, and then we're going to change this to 50. We're going to change the X to 50 as well, so that's offset. Now you can see it's kind of going down this direction, which is what we want. But what you can see here is that there's actually some dots that are missing. And if I increase the pattern here, all it's going to do is keep that empty space. Well, we're going to come back here to repeater 1. We're going to change the offset to a negative number so that it fills the composition all the way. And there we go. You can see it's entirely filled in. And now all we're going to do basically is just position the actual layer so that it looks a bit better. It looks like it's kind of covering all the spots. There we go. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this back to the dark gray that I had it at before. All right, so we have our background, which I'm going to relabel solid background. And we're going to come here and I'm going to label this small circles. Okay, and now I'm going to do the text part of this. So we are on part 4 and we're doing title cards. So we're going to say part 4, motion graphics, and we're going to say title cards for the subtitle. So this was in all caps, so I'm going to hit part 4, motion graphics. And as you can see, this obviously doesn't fit. It's not the same thing as this, but we're going to make sure that it gets to that way. To start, I'm going to hit that. I'm going to center the text. I'm going to increase the top line of the text and get it to about where it was for the other one. And now we're going to do the same thing to the bottom text so that fills the same amount of space as this. And let's see what it looks like compared to its original. Oh, I'm actually a bit too small. Basically just trying to match it up precisely. Okay, so now I just expand this out a little bit so that it fills the space. Cool. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to copy the hex code for this. Just hit copy. I'm going to come over here, make sure I'm selecting this text layer and set that right there. Going to position this a bit closer to the center. And now we'll do our subtitle, which of course is title cards but this obviously isn't right. So let's set this to a smaller font size, and we're just gonna hit this so that flips it and makes it white. And yeah, it's not all the same, but this kind of gives you the basic idea of what you're looking for. So this is good. We have what we need for this, but we need to do just a little bit more to make it just a little bit extra. So I'm gonna make a new solid. I'm gonna hit OK. It's full black. What we're gonna do is we're gonna create a mask on this black solid, and we're gonna set to subtract. Then we're gonna open the mask drop-down menu, and we're gonna hit feather. We're gonna hit feather a lot, and then we're gonna expand the mask out. And there we go. We have a little bit of vignetting in the corners there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna select the layer and I'm gonna call it vignetting. But what we need is we need a animation on and an animation off. So there's a couple ways you can do that, and I'm gonna show you a simple one, which is just simply, let's pre-comp the entire thing. So title card walkthrough example. And now I'm just going to go simply over to the transition drop down of the effects window. So I'm just going to do a simple linear wipe. I'm going to change the white angle to be just a little offset, so you can see it's kind of like that. But we're going to flip it around so that's the other way, so that way it can animate on. All right, so we're going to have to start with it at 100. I'm going to hit the keyframe, go down here to the layer and hit U. I'm gonna go 1 second into the timeline, create a new keyframe, set it to 0. And you just want enough time to be able to read it. Title cards really should probably not be longer than 5 seconds long. So we're gonna do just that, 5 seconds long. I'll create 2 more keyframes at the 4-second and the 5th-second mark. And I'm gonna set the transition completion to 100 again. But I think what we'll do here instead is keyframe the white angle so that at the 4-second mark and a frame just before it, we're gonna have it flip around so that we see it's coming off the right way. So let's switch it to that and let's preview what we have here. See? Awesome. All right, so just a simple little bit of cleanup work. I'm gonna easy ease these keyframes and I'm gonna change them. I'm not gonna interact with the wipe angle one because that one is 1 frame a second long, so it does not matter. This one, however, I'm gonna do like that, crush left, and then this one, crush right. And we'll preview the work one more time. There we go. We've got something close to what we have for the actual title card. And then it transitions off slowly and then sprints to the end. There we go. And that's essentially how you create a title card. And for the final step, what you want to do is create a new solid, create a chroma key green, and put it underneath the title card. So that way it animates itself on, and then you can just simply key the chroma key green out of composition. Thanks, and see you in the next video.